guns in the shadows of the night.
Like any self-respecting idiot, I forgot to film the intro to this video prior to actually engraving the slides and even Cerakoting them. So you're going to start with seeing the finished result. You'll see some tests with this design. And then the slide that you'll actually see being engraved in the tutorial is going to be this design here, this paisley serration type look. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps to quiet the voices in my head. As per usual, the settings are going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be the strategies and the execution where the real meat and potatoes of this content is. So let's go over the settings. It's going to be this for our actual cutting. This is going to be what gets us the depth. And then every now and then, and we'll talk through how frequently, we're going to do a clean pass. So basically, the deep engraving is throwing up your power pretty decently high. As you'll see later, the power here, the exact number doesn't matter so much as just go fairly high without maxing it out, because maxing it out does tax your laser. And just whatever you end up with based on your wattage and the power is just how fast it's going to cut. For example, when I was handed the settings that seeded this episode, they were for a 50-watt laser with a 330mm lens. When I did my conversions, that left me and my smaller lens with a 59% power recommendation. Given that the purpose of the deep engraving passes here is brute force removal of a very hard material, it made perfect sense that I could bump that power rating up without negative consequences to my material or the finish. More on that in a bit. The speed and the frequency and the obviously bidirectional crosshatch with a 0.03 line spacing are going to be where a lot of the more important aspects of this setting are. And then also the fact that we are starting at a 45-degree angle, but we are going to set to auto rotate and increment that by 22 degrees every crosshatch path. So there's 10 passes that will do auto rotating at that 22-degree setting. And what that's doing is it's just changing where the lines associated with that line spacing of 0.03 millimeters hits. And so you get a nice even cut and even floor to your engraving. Now, after 10 crosshatches, it is going to run a crosshatching clean pass. Much higher speed, much lower power setting, but frequency is the same and a larger line spacing here. In the video, you'll see that when it does run that, it almost kind of, you can watch it go from a very dark floor to the engraving to a much cleaner, almost white floor. And that's what the cleaning pass is doing. It's cleaning up any of that darkening, that unevenness, that slag, left by the more aggressive cutting method for our deep engraving. Now, what's really important here is, and again, we talk about this in detail when we go over the strategy, but the number of global passes that you do of this combination of 10 deeps followed by 1 clean. I have found that for a slide, 4 global passes of this combination with my laser is what I would like my engravings to look like. But I've done everything from 1 all the way up to 6, and as you'll see in a bit, it just changes the look. But those are our settings. You should have watched the previous episodes in this series because the learning is incremental and builds upon itself. However, in case you didn't, let's cover the rules of the series real quick. 1, I assume your laser is already set up correctly, and no, not just out of the box. 2, as long as your laser is a fiber laser, this tutorial will work for you. You don't have to have the same ohm tech I use, especially since I'm not exactly impressed with them anyways. 3, laser wattage, lens size, JPT versus Raycus, doesn't matter. I show you how to convert my settings to work with your fiber laser in episode 1. 4, I'm learning this alongside you, and in this case, my learning was turbo boosted by Fragile Designs. Thanks to him for sharing his settings with me to then share with you. Okay, on to strategy. Let's start out by talking about the tests that I did. So these are just 2 random scrap blocks of 4140, a common metal used in firearms. So these were a good, test bed to work with. If you watched my video on engraving in aluminum, you'll remember that I got my settings from Frag Out Designs. And for a lot of his work, he's using a very large lens. It's 330 millimeters. I'm working with a much smaller lens. And so when I did that conversion down, it left me with fairly low power ratings. I think it was like 59% power. And at the end of that video, I hypothesized that for this sort of work, for deep engraving, I could probably bump those power numbers up just fine without worrying about the result. I can get more power efficiency because I'm using that smaller lens. I went ahead and tried that here. So the first thing I did was I did a test of just one pass at the settings that I showed early on, that 50-ish, I think it was 59%, just to get an idea of how it was cutting. And it looks pretty good. So I went ahead and I ran 6 global passes. And wow, that came out fantastic. You can see that the depth gives it wonderful shadows that really highlight the engraving. But I thought, can I get away with bumping that power up and either go deeper, or, as we'll see a little bit later, can I back off the number of global passes necessary to get the look that I'm after with those higher power numbers? And so this is 6 passes at a much higher 85%. And as you can see, there is a difference in how the shadows hit. That deeper engraving that the high power gave was indeed going to lead to a deeper look with some better shadows. So what I'll say from these experiments is figure out how deep you want to go. The answer is all depths produce a cool look. It's just slightly different. So factor in what you want the look to be, but also factor in what you're doing the engraving on. You don't potentially want to go too deep and say potentially introduce some structural integrity issues with the piece that you're working. For example, the slides that I did for this video, the engraving was happening on not only the thinnest part of the slide, but also over where the recess for the rails happened to be on the inside of that thinnest section of the slide. So I did take into account there how deep I actually wanted to go. All right, let's talk about these results now on the actual slides themselves. So I did end up using the high power settings at 85% power, and I really like the result on this one with the single black matte finish. I'm actually going to recommend to the guy that's getting this one that he sprays some black and then kind of wipes it off the surface to accentuate the sparkle of this gold finish. Kind of washes out the engraving a little bit, but still very cool. I did, as I kind of hinted at the beginning, this is the thinnest section of the slide, and we've got the inset for the rails here. So I did end up backing off the number of global passes. I'll put down here in the bottom how many global passes I used for these, but it was not the full 6 passes like we saw in some of those examples. But that was just me being conservative, and like I said, it still came out with a fantastic result. All right, let's get into the details of how to do it. As per usual, I'm going to use a tooling layer in Lightburn to frame out just the shape of the area that I'm going to be engraving to ensure that I've got the materials on the actual laser bed in reality lined up to what the computer thinks is there. So you can see here, it's just wrapping around that whole front section. I then went ahead and switched over to output the actual design and started the engraving. watch now what's coming up. You'll see that the laser moves a lot faster and the tone changes, and you'll watch the floor of the engraving go from that dark charish color to a nice, clean, almost white. This is the cleaning pass. As always, let's talk results. Here is that design directly off of the laser. So we see the nice light colored cleaned bottoms. We've still got the same color as the slide at the tops. And then we do have that little charring of schmutz left around the edges from the ablation. But as you can see on the other side, which I went ahead and steel wooled, that comes off very easily. So that is not a problem. I'm very happy with this. Let's look in the light. Nice, deep engrave. See how the shadows react to the light. So I think that was the right depth for this slide, being able to not only give it some texture and a nice deep engraving look, but also not have to worry about potentially getting even close to what are actually a fairly deep set of internal rails. So let's go ahead and get this blasted and see what that looks like fully cleaned up. And there you have it, blasted out so you can see the full beauty of the engraving. Obviously, I'm now marring it up with oils for my fingers, so I will do a full detail blast. Before I Cerakote this, I'm probably going to get rid of some of the imperfections from this being a used slide first. But this gives you an idea of what the final work looks like.